Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Swaybe and it's day 2 of our 5 days of top 5. We've moved on from quests and now all of the rest of our top 5s will be about the brand new minions coming to Battlegrounds with Season 3 on the 17th. That's a lie actually, because today's top 5 is specifically about the new hero, Professor Putricide. Well, he's not actually a new hero, but his hero power is new with a returning hero. His hero power costs 4 and you build an undead. You have 2 pools. You combine a minion from each pool to create an incredibly unique minion. It is tavern tier locked, so you will only be able to discover at your tavern tier or below, and it won't go below 2 tiers below your tavern tier. So if you're on 6, you won't discover below 4, if I understand correctly. So the capability and possibility of a low roll feels a lot less likely, which I am very happy about. So let's talk about my top 5. So as we saw in Crypt's video, there are plenty of minions in each of the pools, and there could be some pretty insane combinations of these minions particularly. So I made a top 5 of minion combinations that I would love to see. Now, these obviously vary based on what you're already playing, what other people in your lobby are playing, what your end goal is, what your board already looks like. But, just some speculation here and some possibilities. So I have 1 early game, 1 mid game, 2 mid-late game, and then 1 late game possibility. So let's start us out with a very early game option. So let's say it's 4 gold, turn 2. You decide, I don't want to level. Instead, I would like to push the button. For whatever reason, this is just yearning to just push the button right now. So obviously your options are going to be incredibly low since you can only discover on tier 1. However, there is the incorporeal. Okay, there's the incorporeal corporal, which is a 5/5 minion that gets destroyed after it attacks. But if you combine that with the Risen Rider from Pool 2, which is the 2/1 Undead Taunt Reborn, very similar to the Acolyte, then it's a 7/6 Taunt Reborn that comes back as a 7/1 that you can place in the back of your board. That's 14 attack on turn 2. At that point, you can probably power level, and we don't quite know exactly what, tempo plays look like. We have no idea whether it's going to be, a power level meta, just a standard curve meta. I'm sure we're going to discover some new curves that are optimal in this meta. So this sounds kind of nutty. I mean, off the get-go, 14 attack on turn 2 that you can just have, and it's also a taunt with Reborn, that's even useful late game for anything that is helped by Reborn, like the Jelly Belly. This really feels pretty fantastic, at least for early and early mid game. Moving on to mid game here, this does require you to be on tier 3, but you can find a Gilded Gargoyle, which is a 2/2 death rattle of adding a coin to your hand, and then a Bone Wraith, which is the 2/5 Undead Taunt Reborn. So you have a taunted coin that is also reborn. That's just so much economy. And as someone that just loves power leveling and having that extra economy just to have and to hold and to do with as you please, that seems so incredibly good. And this is something that actually we can talk about even further. If you do get this mid-game unit, there is a late-game combination that I'm very interested in that could even play into that. So it would be the greediest combination of all time, but hello, my name is Sway. So let's see how that works out. But for now, I think that it would be what? It would be a 4/7. It would be a 4/7 Taunt Reborn Death Rattle of adding a coin to your hand. Feels fantastic. We are now moving on to our mid-late game additions. So this particular combination also requires you to be on tier 3. However, it's kind of a different feel than the very greedy coin taunted Reborn. So 2 coins to your hand, or this situation, which is the Jelly Belly, which is a 3/5 undead. After a friendly minion is reborn, can gain a +3/+3, combined with the Shade of Naxxramas, which is a 2/2 undead stealth. At the start of your turn, gain +1/+1. So the start of your turn gain +1/+1 doesn't really mean a lot, in my opinion. What does mean a lot is that stealth keyword. So giving Jelly Belly stealth and being able to eliminate all of the reborns in front of Jelly Belly, which we already know we can run at the back of a board to create a very powerful piece, but giving it stealth feels even better. So it definitely will not die before it's meant to die, if that's one way to say it. But I think that it would be absolutely fabulous for just a mid-late game kind of token board, just to get a really big unit in there to clean up any mess that the tokens have left behind. The fourth undead minion combination I'm very interested in seeing is specific to a build that I'm quite excited to play. We have the Eternal Night build, which is that tier 2 4/1 that gains +1/+1 for each Eternal Night that has died this game, wherever that is. So we have our Eternal Night on tier 2 and the Eternal Summoner to close it out on tier 6, which summons 2 Eternal Nights. So this particular undead build is made of a tier 5 Hungering Abomination. So this is closer to end game than mid game, but it is the tier 5 Hungering Abomination, which is a 3/4 undead avenge 1 gain +1/+1 permanently. So it is a scaling unit that you can keep on your board in addition to your night build. And then you have that combined with the tier 5 Drakari Embalmer, which is a 3/4 undead battle cry, give a friendly undead reborn. So there's 2 different ways to play this, in my opinion. You can reborn an Eternal Night, but what does that mean for you? It means potentially that, you have this unit that's scaling, but you have 1 unit getting reborn. However, if you've already tripled into a 6, you're on tier 5, so you can discover these units on tier 5, but you've tripled into a 6, and it is that Eternal Summoner. You can use the Drakari Embalmer on that summoner, so you are giving that summoner reborn no matter what. So instead of just summoning those 2 knights, you get the reborn on it, so you summon, theoretically, 4 knights a turn, as long as the knights continue to die. And not only is it just that very useful tool of giving that reborn for your Eternal Night build, but you also have the consistent scaling of the Hungering Abomination. I think that's such a useful tool for the night build. So coming in at the very end, late game, I was so excited to see this unit when it was revealed. Oh my goodness, it's the tier 6 Devourer of Souls. This is after a friendly minion dies, gains its death rattle. Oh, it's like N'Zoth. I love to meme. So immediately, right, I'm thinking of the combination with the Colossus of the Sun, which is that 6/6 Divine Shield Reborn. So it does have the protection of the Divine Shield, and then it also gets reborn, almost like if you use Ghast Coiler on the spawn of N'Zoth. So similar kind of situation there. Also on tier 4, we have the Shadow Rager, which is specifically just that stealth for me. I mean, it's a 5/1, so it does have the attack, but I care much more about the stealth, just shrouding that Devourer of Souls to get the utmost value from it. Or the tier 5 Wasteland Assassin, which is that beautiful world of stealth and reborn. So you get the stealth factor of shielding it as long as you possibly can, and then also coming back. Now, of course, it doesn't come back with those death rattles that it gained before it died, but if any happen after it comes back, then it gains those death rattles back. So immediately I'm thinking of, I don't like to say that I'm thinking of this, but Leaper build. I will not play it, but if someone else plays it, I would not fault them for that. So I'm thinking Leaper build. I'm thinking of Omega Buster. I think that would be a really interesting combination piece for a mech Omega Buster build. I'm also, of course, thinking of Bomb Comp, but also when am I not thinking of Bomb Comp? And then in the absolutely ridiculous conditional, right, that you have a N'Zoth in your lobby and dragons are in, and you can use Nostormu to steal N'Zoth's fish. And then you can do all of those death rattles with the fish, and then the fish with the Devourer of Souls. Unnecessary. Probably won't ever happen. But if it does happen, I would cry tears of joy. But this is what I was talking about earlier with that Gilded Gargoyle Bone Wraith combination. If you already created that, it would be a really nice addition to the Devourer of Souls. Which led me down yet another rabbit hole of, we have our Macaw, we have our Warden of Old. Everyone loved a millionaire build. Well, by everyone, I mean me. I love a millionaire build. So this is like Millionaire build part 2, or maybe part 3. Definitely gonna try to do that, where you just get all the gold in the world, potentially die very early, but have a lot of fun. So that sounds like a great time that I'm very, very interested in and will definitely try to meme with. So those were the top 5. Of course, I do have to do 2 notable good, let's say honorable mentions. We'll give them honorable mentions. And this is specifically not for meme value, but just because they are good units. We have the Nightmare Amalgam to be able to be discovered in Pool 1. This is on Tier 3. And of course, just being able to give that minion that you're creating the all minion type. We all know how valuable amalgams are, so that could be very useful. And then on Tier 6, you have the Venomancer. This is a 2/5 undead poison. So I do like that it's on Tier 6. It does have the keyword of poison, so it can't be stealthed, it can't be divine shielded, none of that. It's just going to be this undead poison unit. And we know that we have like the Puffer Quill. If no Quillbore or Naga or Murloc, we still have our Toxfin. If none of those are in the lobby, then the only poison you have aside from Venomancer would be Mantid. And then on top of that, the only removal would be Leroy. And to make it even better, this is from Pool 2. So unsure about like stealing minions from Putricide, right? Like if Tess were to refresh Putricide, unsure if it would just be the base unit that the card art is used from, or if it would be that beautiful amalgamation that Putricide is able to make. But if it's not, and it's just that first unit from Pool 1, then no one can steal your Venomancer. And that would be very useful. So definitely honorable mentions there. And I'm very, very, very excited to see what this Death Rattle build has for us and the Eternal Night build. All this being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and please let me know if you thought of any combinations with Professor Putricide's minions that you think would absolutely be nutty that I missed, because I stared at these minions for a hot second because memes are life and I want to meme with Professor Putricide. I think that these Build-Undead minions sound like a great time and absolutely could be incredibly powerful depending on when you choose to use that hero power. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow with some more top 5. Bye, everyone.